Welcome to episode 415. And if you've ever set out to make healthy changes but found your willpower fading after a few weeks, this is the episode for you. Today, we'll explore why Ayurveda focuses less on discipline and more on rhythm, how aligning your habits with nature's cycles makes transformation not only possible, but sustainable. Stay tuned. Hi there, I'm your host Colette, and on this podcast I will be sharing the teachings of Ayurveda, yoga, and holistic health practices. Now, if you're new to Ayurveda, I recommend checking out the first couple of episodes where I do an introduction to Ayurveda and the mind-body types. Thanks for listening, and now here's a new episode. Hey there, and welcome back. Today I'm sharing the final episode in my trilogy on Ayurvedic habits. In episode 412, we explored how habits can serve as anchors in uncertain times. And in episode 413, we looked at the big results that come from small, consistent rituals. In this episode, we'll dive into how to make those habits truly sustainable. If you've ever set a beautiful intention to meditate more regularly, eat better, or live more mindfully, only to feel that enthusiasm fade after a few weeks, well, this episode is going to help you out. We'll explore how Ayurveda helps us bridge the gap between wanting change and living it, and why willpower alone is not enough. You'll discover how rhythm, awareness, and alignment with nature can turn your intentions into transformation that truly lasts. So let's look first at why we struggle with consistency. Most of us start new habits with the best of intentions, a spark of motivation, a feeling of this time it will be different. But somewhere along the way, that energy begins to fade. Life gets busy, old patterns pull us back in, and suddenly that meditation practice or morning walk we loved becomes another thing we feel guilty about not doing. In modern culture, we're told that discipline and willpower are the keys to success. But willpower is like a fire. It burns hot, but it does not last forever. When we rely on that fire, we end up in cycles of enthusiasm and then burnout. Ayurveda offers a gentler, more sustainable model for change. It reminds us that real transformation happens through rhythm, not force, through alignment and not struggle. When we work with our true nature, our dosha, our energy patterns, and the rhythms of the day and season, change stops being something we have to push for. It starts to feel natural, even inevitable. So how do we move from fleeting intention to lasting integration? Well, Ayurveda gives us a beautiful roadmap, what I call the Ayurvedic formula for sustainable change. So let's look at that formula. And it's very simple. It starts with intention, which moves to awareness, then rhythm, then integration. So let's break that down. Looking at intention, sankalpa, the seed of change. Every transformation begins with intention, a conscious choice to evolve. But in Ayurveda, intention isn't about self-criticism or striving to fix ourselves. It's about remembering who we truly are beneath the imbalance. When you set an Ayurvedic intention or sankalpa, it's not a to-do list item. It's an energetic seed planted in the fertile soil of your awareness. For example, instead of saying, I need to stop being stressed, your intention might be, I choose to move through my day with steadiness and grace. Intentions rooted in compassion grow naturally, while those rooted in pressure tend to wither. So now let's look at the next step, awareness, remembering your natural rhythm. Before we can change anything, we have to notice what is. Ayurveda invites us to observe, not judge, our patterns. When does your energy rise and fall during the day? What triggers restlessness or irritability? How do you feel after different foods or different kinds of rest? Awareness brings precision. Instead of forcing a generic routine, you start to understand what you need at this time, in this season of the year, in this season of your life, and with your current doshic state. So we've looked at step 1 in this formula, which is intention, step 2, awareness, and now we're moving on to step 3, which is rhythm. Rhythm is the bridge between awareness and integration. This is where intention becomes embodied, where the idea becomes a living habit. By aligning your daily rhythms, dinacharya, which I discussed in detail in episode 16 if you're new to dinacharya, but when you align your daily rhythms with the cycles of nature, your nervous system learns to relax into predictability. And by aligning with seasonal rhythms, called ritucharya, which I discussed in detail in episode 122. Again, check that out if you're new to this concept. But when we align with the seasonal rhythms, we give our body a chance to renew and rebalance throughout the year. Remember, Vata is grounded through stability. Pitta is cooled and calmed through moderation, and Kapha is energized through stimulation. When your daily rituals are synced with these natural patterns, they require less effort and they start to sustain you. And now the final step, integration, when wisdom becomes second nature. Integration is the stage where your new habit feels effortless. It's on autopilot, which also helps to prevent decision fatigue. It's when sipping warm water in the morning or pausing for a mindful breath isn't something you have to remember to do. It's simply who you are now. Integration does not mean rigid perfectionism. It means having a steady rhythm that flows with your day, one that's adaptable to changes in your schedule, the season, and the natural demands of life. And this is where true sustainability begins, when these practices are no longer tasks on the to-do list, but part of your natural daily rhythm. And so that's the simple formula: intention, awareness, rhythm, and integration, which will become part of your natural daily rhythm. And now let's talk about why rhythm sustains, but willpower fades. And here's the key truth. Willpower is finite, but rhythm is infinite. Willpower relies on mental effort. It asks the mind to push through, whereas rhythm relies on nature's flow. It asks the body to remember. When you structure your habits around rhythm, like eating at a consistent time or going to bed before 10 p.m. or taking a gentle walk in the early morning light, you're no longer battling with your biology. You're aligning with it. Your body begins to anticipate nourishment, rest, and activity. Your energy stabilizes. And most importantly, your nervous system stops scanning for what's next. That's why people often say that once their Ayurvedic habits click, they stop feeling like work and they feel like nourishment, like home. So let's make this real. How do you move from intention to integration in your own life? And here's a simple step-by-step path you can start today. Step 1, set a seasonal intention. What is your heart asking for right now? Maybe it's steadiness, clarity, or lightness. Phrase a positive sankalpa. For example, I create space for ease, or I nourish myself with rhythm. That's a great place to start, setting your positive sankalpa, and post it somewhere that you can see it daily. Step 2 is observe your natural patterns. For a few days, notice your energy flow. When do you feel alert, grounded, or scattered? This observation tells you where support is needed. Step 3, anchor it in rhythm. Choose one micro ritual that aligns with your need and your dosha. So, for example, if you're Vata, starting your day with warmth, like a warm hydrating drink, gentle stretching, or mindfulness practices. If you're Pitta, you could add a cooling midday pause when Pitta is very high in the environment. And that could be taking a break away from screens and eating your lunch outside in nature, or going for a walk after lunch. Taking time to smell the roses. And if you're Kapha, begin your morning with movement, a brisk walk, a few sun salutations, or dry brushing before your shower. And step 4, keep it small and keep it consistent. Don't overhaul your life. Anchor one small ritual and practice it daily. Consistency is what rewires your biology, not intensity. You definitely do not want to overwhelm yourself because that does not lead to any sustainable practices. Step 5, reflect and adjust. Ayurveda is flexible. If something doesn't feel right, adapt it. We evolve, the seasons change, and our rituals should flow with us. We should not have the same rituals throughout the year, as each season calls for different adjustments, as well as our doshas and being aware of which doshas are higher in particular seasons so that you can adjust as you go through the seasons, as doshic imbalances arise, and so on. Be flexible. And finally, step 6, celebrate your wins. Every moment of alignment is worth acknowledging. A calm morning, a steady digestion, a restful night. These small victories reinforce the rhythm and remind your body that change is safe. Let me share an example with you. One of my clients, a very driven Pitta type, came to me completely exhausted. She was waking up early to do intense workouts, working long days in a stressful environment, and all in the name of self-discipline. But she was burnt out. When we softened her morning with less intensity in our workouts and making time for gentler, cooling practices, slower stretches, mindful breathing, breakfast before coffee, everything changed. She began to feel nourished instead of drained. Her rituals were not tasks anymore. They were care. That's integration, when your daily rhythm supports you rather than demands from you. And I can talk about this, but until you feel these changes, these shifts in your body and mind, then that's when the real shift happens. And that becomes a real catalyst to change. So what I recommend you do is that you start taking some action. And as I said, keep it small, keep it consistent. Do not overwhelm yourself. And start by moving through this week and taking a moment of reflection. What small intention wants to grow roots in your life right now? What one rhythm could help it take shape? Remember, Ayurveda teaches that change doesn't come from force. It comes from flow, from aligning your daily life with the intelligence of nature. And if you'd like support in bringing these practices into your daily rhythm, my Daily Habits for a Holistic Health program was designed exactly for that. It's a self-paced 28-day online program where you'll learn how to integrate small Ayurvedic rituals that align with your dosha, your energy, and lifestyle. You'll discover how to set meaningful intentions, observe your patterns, and weave rhythm into your days so that change feels nourishing, not demanding. You'll also learn how to become your own healer as I help you understand the healing principles in Ayurveda, along with tuning into your intuition and building your awareness and your self-confidence in taking care of your body and mind. And if you want one-to-one support and guidance, then check out my online consultations. You can find all the details on my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com, and I'll link everything in the show notes also. If this episode inspired you, please share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to follow or subscribe so new episodes download automatically for you every week. And please come join me on social media. On Instagram, it's Elements of Ayurveda Podcast. And on Facebook, it's Elements Healing and Wellbeing. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your support. And until next time, take good care of yourself, be well, and bye for now. Slán go fóill.